Hello? What's up, David? I'm getting some stuff ready and then I'll be on camera in a minute. What's up, Ray? How are you doing? Hey, Ray, if you're still watching, leave a comment and see if it shows up here on the screen for me. Or David, if you're on, leave a comment on here. I need to see if it shows up on the screen. The other day when I made a video, the comments weren't showing up for some reason, so hey, there you go. The comments are showing up. What's up, Christopher? How are you doing? Just getting ready to work on this grill, putting it on. Got it in the mail the other day. It's gonna be my wife's, and just trying to get it ready. Got a couple more things to grab, so I'll put it back on the grill here for a minute. Well, did you catch anything? The weather's still pretty crappy here, so just saying. We had a few days of good weather. Today looked like it's going to be an absolute beautiful day, but it's cold. Probably just about freezing outside. Yesterday it was 32 when I got up, so it's probably about the same as it is today. It'll be nice this afternoon, but probably not until 1 or 2 o'clock until it gets warm enough to do much outside. Comfortably, anyways. £10, £5, £2 channel cat. Well, that's not too bad. Where are you from, Christopher? Michigan. Well, welcome, Michigan. I lived in Indiana almost my entire life until 3 years ago when we moved to South Dakota. So I had a pastor that lived in Michigan, and trying to think of where he was from exactly, but not too awful far from Flint. We went to a few big Christian concerts up there in Michigan. What's up, Cody? How are you doing this morning? Christopher, we went to the largest, at the time, probably not anymore, but at the time it was the largest indoor Christian gathering at the Pontiac Silverdome. We had over 70-something thousand, mostly kids there. That's been a long time ago, but I'm going to have to go get a screwdriver to get that off. Be right back. Got to grab a screwdriver. Cody, don't work too hard. All the kids are at school right now, and my wife is just chilling. And so I have some time to sit down here and do this before I got to do some paperwork later. Christopher, what kind of reels do you use to catch those channel cats with? This is the reason why I bought this reel, because you're able to switch the handle over from left to right and right to left. The reel I'm about to take off, great reel, but it is left hand reel only, and Brandy has a little bit of a hard time with that one, so I figured this would make it easier for her. And it's a really nice reel, and I didn't have one of these, so makes it worthwhile. So all you gotta do on these reels here is there's a screw right there. Take that screw out, handle pulls off, switch it around, put the screw back in, and you're good to go. That's all there is to it. Pretty simple. I'm not a giant fan of the noise. That noise is on when the anti-reverse is on. I'm not a huge fan of that, but it's not too bad. I prefer it to be quiet, but it's only quiet when you have the anti-reverse off, so. Take the spool off and see if it's clean in there. Everything looks good. That's the front drag design as well on it. I did like the rear drag design when I was a kid. Used those quite a bit, but these work just fine. So this is the ZRL80 that I'm going to be putting on here. It shows up in the catalog in 1973, so it's a good vintage reel. It's mostly metal parts, and has lasted pretty well. It's lasted this long anyways. I do wish this part right here was all metal, but they switched those out for some reason. But seems to work really good. Well, I've got to go let the dog in because he's barking like crazy. So here is the reel I'm going to be swapping out. This is a Zebco XB85. So it's a really good solid reel. No complaints about it at all. The only thing, and the only reason I'm switching it out is because it's a left-hand reel only. So it's going on a Zebco big game that I bought last year. It's worked really well so far. So, alright, time to take it off. Probably put a smaller hook on here too, I'm not sure. That one might work just fine though. Hello everybody. Whoever's watching. Says there's 3 people, so what's up? Make a comment and we'll have a conversation. You can talk about whatever you'd like to talk about this morning. I'm going to be sitting here for a few minutes working on this reel, so that's why I turned it on. Alright, got that off there. That was pretty easy. So, let me look at the differences here between these 2 reels. Allen, this reel I'm taking off right here is the XB85. I'd have to go back and look in the catalog to see exactly what year it was made. Okay. So it's a Zebco. It's a really good reel. They were made in Japan at this time. And I believe, and I could be wrong, but pretty certain that Ryobi made these for Zebco, or so they were probably contracted out. So these were made after they got done with the Langley reels. So I don't know if you know the story about that. If you don't, then we'll talk about that too if you want to. I can tell you about that, but yeah. So I'm changing it out because this is a left-handed reel only. It does not switch out. Okay. This was on my wife's pole, and I purchased this one recently. Okay, it's XRL80 Zebco. So this one came out after these other ones did. This shows up in the catalog in 1973. So I'm not sure for how long exactly they were in production. I'm sure I can find out. But very similar reel. The biggest difference is you can switch the handle, and you can make it a right-handed reel. So that's a good difference for me. Size-wise, they're very similar. So weight-wise, they're very much the same. Handle-wise, got a little bit bigger knob on this one. Different handle altogether, really. This one does have the anti-reverse switch is different, and it is plastic. It's held up since 1973, so it must have been made pretty well. This one's anti-reverse is a metal knob on the side instead of on the back. Let's see. The bells look very much the same. In fact, I would guess you could probably switch those out. Now, in my opinion, something that was better about this reel than this one is the plastic they attached the bell with right here. Now, like I said, this has lasted since 1973. I don't know how much use it has had. I'm sure it's had some, but it's lasted since 73. So the plastic must have been good material that they used. It didn't break, but this one, the whole thing is metal. So that should last longer. But the mechanism looks to be exactly the same on both reels. Both were made in Japan. They're both probably made by Ryobi. So biggest difference I'm switching them out is just the handles is better here. And these are pretty big reels. I think there's a 95 in this version, XB95. I have not been able to find that one yet. They're getting harder and harder to get for sure. There is a XB77 in this model that does switch, but it's a little bit smaller than this. And they also made a even smaller reel that you can switch out the handles in of this model. And I have several of these different sizes. They're all really good. And I do have the 77 in that one that switches out. This is the first one I bought of these. And they're very similar to those. So this is probably just the newer updated model of that. Come here and lay down. Lay down. My dog is whining. Alright, so Alan, you said Langley ? Langley was a real company. I don't know a ton about them. I think they may have been based out of California. Zebco had come out and made good with their reels, and they wanted to get into the open face models, and they had not made any yet. So I don't know if Langley was just up for sale, going out of business, struggling, but Zebco bought Langley, and they not only bought the rights to the company, they bought everything. They bought their back stock, they bought the tools, like the tool making, they bought everything. And as far as I remember, they moved everything to the Zebco plant, and they began manufacturing open face reels. They changed the color of them. A lot of the Langleys were like a green color, and I have a couple of the original ones. And then Zebco changed them to a darker color and put the Zebco name on them. And then they made those for quite a while. And I have my catfish pole that I use. One of the catfish poles I use, the only open face one I use right now, is a Zebco 870 Spinator. That's the biggest one they made, and it's even bigger than these reels. It has a bigger spool, and it's just a heavier duty reel. They were absolute beast, and I'm not sure exactly how many models they make right now without looking, but they made from big to small. The 777 open face was the budget model, and I have most of those reels. I don't have all of them, and they still work today. And they were made, I believe, in the late 50s into the early 60s, and then Zebco switched out, and I think they contracted these out, probably actually these, They contracted these out through Ryobi and had Ryobi start making them for them. And then they went back to making them themselves again. And all this information isn't, I'm not an expert at this. I'm just a guy that has been collecting these for a little while and using them mainly. I'm not a very big collector because I don't really have a lot of money to spend on things that are going to sit on the shelf. So I have some on a shelf, but they've been ones that's been budget buys. They're not perfect shape, but they're a neat piece to have on the shelf to talk about. He said you just started collecting last year. I've got about 10 older and very few old Zebs. There's a million of them. I can tell you that now. The more you have, the more you'll find that you don't have. They made a ton. Great White was a very good one. I do not have that in either model. I don't have the open face or the spin caster. Now I do have the Pro Staff, the 888 Pro Staff, the gray and the black ones. I have those, and those are, as far as I know, exactly like the Great White closed face ones. I don't really think there's much difference at all, and I love those reels. It was the last reel that my grandfather bought, and so I have one of those that I use regularly, and so it makes me think of him when I go fishing every time. But they're great reels, and I'm sure the open face one is very good too. It was a good product. It's pretty heavily sought after too. People like those a lot. I think I'll go show you real quick, Alan. I'll grab the next USA model that they made because I just bought one, but it's not working correctly. But I'll show you what it looks like real quick. I forget the numbers, so hold on just a second. Go lay down. All right. Ugly sticks are a good reel. Pole. I just actually bought one the other day, and I haven't put a reel on it yet. These, as far as I know, and I could be wrong, I think these are the next USA models that they made. These were made here by Zebco. They were pretty proud of these. They even put a big Made in USA sticker on the side. These were reversible handles. Oftentimes these broke off, but this one's intact. There's something wrong with the spring in this one. It don't want to stay latched. And I talked to Tommy the other day, and I haven't had a chance to do anything with it though. But these are, this one's the Omega 940 XL. It's a pretty good size open face as well. And they made several different models of these. This is one of the nicer ones, and it works really well. I have another one of these that is usable. These are as old as I am. That's why I got them and started using them. They came out in either 78 or 79, and I was born in 79, so I thought it was neat to use a reel that is as old as I am and it still works. So now I grabbed this. It was sitting in the garage too. This is an example of the Langley reels. Okay, these were made by Zebco, but there is a model exactly like this that was Langley that's just a little bit older, and they were a different color, but they were exactly the same. This one is the Spin Deluxe 830. It's not a very big open face, but it works great. Nothing wrong with that at all. It's a very neat reel. Works fine. So I have not used it yet, but there is an example. These were the first Zebco open face reels that they had. So, and like I said, this is a smaller one. So it's not the smallest, I don't think, of this model, but it is one of the smaller ones. And this one, they cost quite a bit back in the day, so they were expensive. I'm not sure what the box was on this, but I guarantee you that this reel was more than $20, and $20 was a lot of money back then. So I think I looked up the other day, this reel here, I believe it retailed for like $29, and with inflation from 1973, it would be $173 or something like that with inflation. So $29 is quite expensive back in 73 compared to today. So go lay down. Go lay down, you're fine. You don't need to go out right now. My dog, he's impatient. Alright. Time to start getting this other reel on there. Now I'll show you. This is what I'm using for catfish right now, and I've got one of these. My wife has one of these also. They are the Berkley Big Game. They are readily available at Walmart. I think $23 is all they cost. They're 8-foot rods. They're heavy duty. So far, so good. I haven't had any problem with them at all. So I know, I look at the catfish sites and things, not just the Zebco stuff, but I'm on a lot of different Facebook groups, and a lot of people have negative things to say about them. And I think it's just because, really the same reason a lot of people have bad things to say about Zebco is they think they're cheap, and people feel better about things they spend more money on. And to be honest with you, I kind of get great joy out of spending very little money and getting good products. And just for instance, this reel here that I'm getting ready to put some line on and use, I purchased it on eBay for $10. Spent like $7 shipping, I think, on it. So I purchased it for less than what the original price was in 1973, and it's probably gonna last for a long time. And that reel right there will do just as good as any of the new ones that you spend a lot more money than that on. And I almost guarantee, I gotta let the dog out again. I almost guarantee you they're gonna last longer than if you buy Seven Grass Pro right now, a brand new one. So I have some newer reels. Don't get me wrong, I use them, especially the Zebco ones. I think they're great products. Alan, are you aware of the Zebco Across America project that we're working on? Hi John, how you doing? I have the comments turned on today. I can see them, they're coming up. So whatever you guys want to talk about, well, I'll sit here and work on these reels and get some line on them. Let's talk. And yeah, I do think these are really good rods. I mean, $23. You can't beat it. We've used it for a whole season now. Caught plenty of fish on. Haven't had any problem whatsoever. And I mean, we've caught some decent sized fish on them. So I'm sure if you're catching 40, 50, 60 pound catfish on a regular basis on them, you know, I don't know. I guess I need to catch some 40, 50, 60 pound catfish on them, but so far I haven't had any problem at all, and I don't really anticipate any problem. They seem like well-made rods to me, and I know people make fun of them, but oh well. All right, she's on there. Now I'll put some line on it. Donald, I have a story about a bullet. It's a good one, if you want to hear it. I do have one. Alan, what were you saying no about? And welcome, Donald. How are you doing this morning? Alright. This is the line I'm going to be using. Okay, I don't know if you can see it real well. It's Trilene Big Game. This particular one is a 25 pound, and it's the Solar Collector. Okay. I've been using this for a couple years. I have not had any problem whatsoever with this line. Buy it at Walmart. It's readily available. I do like it a lot. I haven't had any problem. I can see it well. And that's a big plus for me. I have on a 33 Max that I use, I have the red Cajun line, 20 pound on it. Great line, love it. But when the sun starts going down a little bit, it's very hard to see the line. So, and maybe that's a plus for catching fish, I don't know. But this line here works great. Alan said, I'm currently using two 9 feet Quantum Bill Dance Edition combos, and they are working great. I bet they are. I bet they're working real great. I've seen those at Bass Pro. I imagine Cabela's carries them as well. Is that where you got them at? Donald, you said you don't have Zebco in Sweden? Oh, so I buy 3 from eBay. What do you have, Donald? What kind? Are you talking about you bought 3 bullets from eBay? Alright, I'm going to proceed. Oh, Alan, you bought it at Bass Pro. Yeah, I've seen them there. We were in Omaha on a weekend trip, and they had those, and they're very nice. So they remind me a lot of the just the Bass Pro brand open face ones that they got. I have one of them. I don't know what they're called right now, but they look like really good reels. I really like the handles on them, so, and they are smooth. Alright, I don't know what you guys put your line on with, but I bought this about a year ago on Wish. It was $1. Took a while to get it, but it did finally come. Very useful, lightweight tool to help spool line on. especially when you're by yourself. So you put it on your pole and you clamp it on. You can kind of go down to where it fits on your pole. It's got different sizes here, so trying to find the right size for that one. This one might be a little difficult to find. Or I may have to go down the pole a little bit further than what I normally would, which is fine. I'll have to go way down the pole. But that's alright. It's a Quantum optics reel. Yep. And Quantum is made by Zebco, so they're very nice. I have the new Zebco 33s, the Bill Danson version of it, so they're nice. I like the collar. Gray and black are my favorite colors, and that reel is gray black with a little bit of red on it, so they're pretty sweet looking. Alright, I'll show you this real quick. So this attaches to your pole. Okay, it just clamps on there wherever it fits on your pole. This one I had to go down quite a bit, but then your line just screws on there, and you can screw it on to where it's got more tension on your line or less, and you just pull your line down. And I guess since I'm way up top, I'll just put it through a couple eyes here too to kind of guide it a little bit. And then I'll take it down and put it on the reel. Zebco makes a lot of reels. So, did you know that Quantum was also a Zebco? And when you put line on them, I've done this a million times, don't forget to open the bell before you put your line on. So it's always a little easier if you have someone else to help you too, but this morning it's just me. Nice talking to you, Alan. Look forward to hearing from you again. Donald, if you're still on there, how's Sweeten doing these days? Alright, I got my line tied on. I got my line down here. I got my spool thing ready. We're good to go. Now it's just time to put on the line. Pretty simple. Takes just a little while to fill up a reel of this size in line, but leave in the comments what you guys think about this reel. What do you think about the pole? What do you think about the line? I'd like to hear you guys' opinions. What your experience has been like with them. This is not going to be the most exciting part of the video. If you're watching, welcome. Just sitting here putting some line on a reel and talking to you guys. So if you got something to say, let's talk. We can talk about anything you want to. I don't care. Trying to keep enough tension on this duder. Don't want the line to be on too loose, but imagine it don't really matter all that much. But I like it to not be super loose when I put it on. I think that'll probably be enough line. Pretty simple. If you don't have one of these, you should get one. I don't know if they sell them at the store. I have not seen these particular kind at Walmart or anything, but Wish has these. I've used it for more than a year now. They're fantastic. So great for helping you put line on and keep some tension on it. They worked on every pole I've ever used so far, so well worth getting. Alright, now it's time to get the line through the rod here and put on the hook and the weights again. So, how I set these up. This one is just going to be a bottom pole. It was originally set up with a bobber, but we have not been using bobbers very much lately. So I think we're just going to switch back to our bottom poles, and maybe over the winter time I'll set them up for bobbers again, but we'll see. I'm cutting off some old line on the swivel I took off here. I use a swivel for two reasons: to help with line twist a little bit, and the weights. So I put a sliding weight. I'm probably going to put a bigger one than this on. We've been using them in a river lately, and it has some current to it. So I'm going to put a little bit bigger weight than this back on, but just a weight that slides up and down the line. I use the swivel just as a, not only for a line twist, but also to be a break between the swivel and the hook and all that, so that the weight stays up above the hook some. Does that help with the fishing? I don't really know. I think it does, but I can't say for sure if it does or not. I think it does, so that's why I do it that way. Alright. I'm not 100% sure what weight these are, but they're pretty good size, and this is what I'm going to use, so. And I might go with a smaller hook too on these. But I'm not really sure what ones yet. Look in my box of stuff and see what else. What other hooks I got available here. I'm not even sure where I got these at, but I think I'll give them a try. So these are the Whisker Seeker number 4 circle hooks. It's a little bit smaller than what I had on there before. So I think maybe I'll go with that, because we've been catching catfish and carp has a little bit of a smaller mouth than catfish, but then again, it really hasn't been bothering much either, so. So I guess we'll try these. I don't know if I got these at Walmart or not. They're not that much smaller though. Maybe I'll just stick with what I got on here already. They're not much smaller. I think these are maybe one size bigger. Maybe a 5. But there's not much difference in them, so maybe I'll just stick with what I already have out here. We'll just tie that back on there. Alright, so we'll just stick with that. We'll use those another time. So I got a little bit bigger weight. Like I said, I had this weight on here before, so I want a little bit bigger. And because, like I said, we've been using this in the river a little bit, and there is some current to it. So just going to put the weight right on the line. Just got a hole right through it. Goes through just fine. I'm going to tie the swivel, and I cannot remember the name of this knot. I've been using it for so long, but I don't know what you can see, but I double the line up, put it through the hole, bring it down about halfway of that double, crisscross it, go through the loop, cinch it up just a little bit, but not tight, of course, and then I take the swivel or a hook or whatever I'm using, and you put it through the loop, right on through, and then cinch everything down. And best knot I've ever used. I've been using it for a long time. I know a lot of people use knot, but I don't think you can get much better knot for anything, really. Like I said, I've been using it for a long time with no problem at all. Good deal. Got that on there. I'm going to have to cut off a little bit of line to go on the other side of this for a leader. I'm probably going to go about 1.5 feet from my weight with a leader, and I'm just simply going to use the same line. I haven't noticed a difference in using different line. Last year I put 50-pound line as a leader. I didn't like it at all. It was very bulky. Now I could probably go something smaller, go up to a 30-pound as a leader. Maybe a different collar, maybe a different type, but this to me works just fine. So that's what I'm going to stick with. And same kind of knot. I'm just going to double it up. I'll stick it through the hole in the swivel. Bring it down, crisscross it. Cinch it down but not tight. And then, since I can't bring my leader, my swivel all the way through. Just put the end of the line that you're tying through that loop and then pull it down. Does the same thing. And then cinch it all down. And that's as simple as it gets. Pull it tight, make sure it's not wrapped around or anything. And clip off your tag in. I use a pull out again, just make sure, but not usually works good. So I probably got 2 feet on there. So I'll probably cut off just a little bit. I don't quite want it that long. I want it to be about 1.5 feet at most. And then I'll tie my hook on. And my hook is tied on with the same knot. Really simple, sweet, short. Works great. Don't take long. And I don't usually have any problems with this knot whatsoever. Cut off the tag in. I don't usually leave very much. Pull on a little bit, make sure it's tight. And there you go. Dude is on there. And that is it. That is simple for me. Catfish or carp setup. And we catch as many carp on these as anything too. So I know a lot of people use the hair rigs now and the little corn ones, and I'm going to try that at some point. I haven't done it yet, but so far these work just fine for us, and we catch plenty of them. So all right, that does it for that. Time to reel her up. She's ready to go. Turn back on the anti-reverse. Roll that bad boy up. She's ready to rock and roll. Try to adjust the drag on it. Have to adjust the drag when we're out there, but there she goes. She's ready to rock and roll. Alright, I think that's the extent of the video today. For those who dropped in and said hi, just like to thank you for joining in the conversation. I'm going to start making more of these videos, hopefully on a semi-regular basis, and I would just like to sit and talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. It don't necessarily have to be fishing. It can be whatever. So thank you for dropping in. I'm going to put up all this stuff and do some other paperwork and all the fun stuff that got going on, and the computer work, paperwork, always fun stuff. But I appreciate you hanging out, and if you watch the video at a later time, comment, post questions. I will see the comments and I will answer. Appreciate it. You guys have a good day.